Okay, so here we are in our next little video. In our previous video, we created our Photoshop document. We copied, used our selection tool, our marquee tool, showed you guys the different selection tools, and copy and pasted from these different files of mine. Okay, now we're in our main layered file, and this is what you're going to use for your assignment. So your assignment, you're going to create little mini collages. I believe you've got, I think there's 3. And so I would suggest, if your computer space or your flash drive or external hard drive, whatever you're using to store your files, if you have the room, you can create 3 separate layered files. That might be easier to manage, or you can create it and like have different combinations in your one layered file. What I'm really after is for you to make 3 different, visually different collages for your assignment using these different tools. Okay. So, one of the first things we're going to look at is after I copy and pasted, right? As you can see, I want to move things around. So, I'm going to maybe turn off all my layers except for the top one. And we talked about how you can reorder these things, right? But I want to move it, and transform it. So it's larger or smaller. So the first thing is the move tool. And so you click on that, and you can move your elements, right? I'm on the layer that I'm moving. Some of you, and this is maybe something you can double check on yours, but there is a little checkbox here. It says auto select. If yours is like auto selected, if that checkbox is open, I'll show you the difference. It will auto select what the mouse or what my cursor is on. I don't have to be on that layer. I just need to click on it. Okay. Up to you to keep that on. I think for our demo purposes, it's sometimes easier to go, I'm on this layer. That's what I move. So up to you. But there is an auto select option. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my little perfectly imperfect star here. I can move it. You can see that I can actually move it all the way off the layer so you don't see it anymore. Okay. So just be careful that you know where your objects are. Then I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to go edit, free transform. Okay, so this bounding box should look familiar from Illustrator when you're like sizing things up or down. Okay, so this will allow me to do that. If you have your cursor towards the corner, you can see it kind of changes, and it's like a little bent arrow, and you can rotate. Right? Right, however you want it to be. Once you find that position, you can hit return on your keyboard to apply the change. Okay, if you don't hit the return, you're going to be kind of stuck. So make sure after you've transformed it the way you want, you apply the change. Okay, so that's the first one. This is my second one. Kind of want to go to edit, free transform, or command T. There's the key command for anything. You can see that. And I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. And I think I will rotate it just a pinch. And I'll hit return on my keyboard and make sure I save Command S, right? Save your progress. So here's my carving. I'm going to go to edit, free transform. Just going to move this over a little bit. I like that texture. And then I'll hit return. My little carabao, my carabao carving. So depending on what your images are, obviously, they're different than mine. But, once you have them in your layer document, to adjust them, copy, paste, and then transform it, right? So return. And then here's my text, which was pomegranate, but a section of the word. Edit, transform. If I hold down my shift key, it will kind of help me get like the straight angles and like kind of moving it in increments if I hold down my shift key. Okay, that should be the same for you. Okay, so we're just really focusing on transforming, moving. This is good. And once you have, don't forget to save Command S. Once you have something that you're like, you have it all sized about the same, now we're going into actually adjustments, right? So the first thing is, if you're drawing, here's my drawing, it looks a little bit dark. Like, I want to brighten it up. Make sure you're on the layer. Okay. You can go to edit, adjustments, and you can go to try any of these things, but I'm going to go to levels. If you want to experiment, you can for sure, but levels, it will allow me to make my drawing a little bit brighter, right? This affects the white, the darks, the whites, the lights. This is the darks, and then this is the midtones. This is a nice tool to like kind of brighten up an image. If you took an image on your camera, on your phone, it's a little dark, image adjustments and levels is really helpful. Okay, and so I'm going to just kind of play around a little bit. Okay, so I'll have my carving at the bottom, along with copy and pasting things. I can also add a layer, right? And if I want to add a color, here's pick a color, right? Here's my color for a foreground, and I have a brush tool as well. Okay, I can change the size of my brush, right? I can also, that's on its own layer right here. You can see it. Right, so I can add a dash of color. I can put that color on top, and so it applies itself to the layers below it, right? It's a top down system. Here, I'll put color. So we've been able to, I think I'll stop here for this particular video. So we were able to get all of our different elements and transform them, right? Going to edit, free transform, making them larger or smaller. We made a brand new layer and we were able to add, our own color. This is, you can pick any color you want. This is your brush tool. You can kind of experiment with that for the different settings. But, for the next video, we'll go into the different layer effects and looking at the opacity and, kind of making artsy collages. And we can add text too. All right, so that'll be in the next video. I will see you then.